Welcome to The Soul Truth with Pauline Montemayor, the podcast where we dive deep into the worlds of healing and the truths about spirituality, mental health, and the soul. This podcast is for the real ones, the ones who have the courage to dig deep, the ones who are longing to heal and willing to do the work, and the ones who are ready to embrace and fully stand in their own truth and get to know who they truly are deep within the soul. I'm your host, Pauline, here to guide you towards your own soul truth and cultivating a life of authenticity and alignment. So let's get into it. Welcome to The Soul Truth with Pauline Montemayor. We are going to be shaking things up a little bit on this episode, as I will be speaking with someone who's actually hypnotized me before and can probably hypnotize all of you. I am very excited to have my very first guest on this podcast, my dear friend and my soul brother from another mother, Pedro Mejia. Pedro is a hypnotherapist and a transformational coach, helping individuals heal emotional patterns at their roots. So, hi, Pedro. Thank you for being here.
Hi. Hey, how's it going, Pauline? So good to see you.
Too. Thank you so much for being here today. Very excited to have you on the show. So Pedro and I had a very interesting way of meeting. We actually only met, I think, 1 or 2 years ago. But the interesting thing is that when we first met, I immediately felt like I have known him for a very long time. And my first thought was, I have absolutely met this man in another lifetime. So do you remember, Pedro, how we met and
yes,
what it was like for you?
Oh my God. So we met at a mediumship course. Okay. And I was guided to do that. And the moment Pauline came on, there was other people, but Pauline stood out. I was like, God, I know her. I actually know her. Obviously not in this life, but I had that resonance with her right away. Yes. And then, of course, as is always orchestrated by the universe, who were the first people to go into a huddle? Me and her.
In that breakout room on Zoom.
Yes. And after that, it just flowed. It's like literally we're family and we're just chatting over what we're seeing, what we're feeling. And everything was so fluid. It was so on. It was so accurate from both sides. It's like we literally know each other. We've known each other for so long.
I totally felt the same way. And I feel like we've had such amazing readings that we've done for each other. And every time I link up with you, it's always such a fun, but a very spiritual experience. So
it is on my side too.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I know you didn't actually start off on this spiritual path. You have a very interesting journey. I know that you worked in corporate for a very long time. So I'd love if you could share more about where you started and how you got to where you are now doing this work.
Absolutely. So like Pauline said, I was in the corporate side. I was there for almost 20 years. And I was, living what everybody thinks is quote unquote the life, success. And I use big quotation marks on that. But I was doing what everybody else does, goes to work, do what you need to do, come home, be with the family. And of course, I had my own meditation practices on the side, but I was really in the closet for 20 years, really hiding. Nobody really knew what I do in my personal life to that depth at work. It's not like you're supposed to be sharing everything, but I was actually hiding myself from what I was doing, because as you go through the ranks, there's a certain, how do I say, perspective that people assume they need to have, that you need to conduct your life, you need to be this and you need to say that, and this is taboo and this is not. And so I lived that life for that bit in the closet, basically. And then after 2021, everybody knows what happened then. The big quiet, I like to call it the big quiet. My wife, as she's always guided, my amazing, amazing wife for 26 years, she said, it is time to go within. The earth is going within. We need to go within to go even deeper, at a deeper level. And then that started the whole thing of understanding and seeing myself where I am. Am I really happy? Am I being connected? And one thing led to the other. And it all started from one fateful moment in the morning over breakfast, just chilling and just eating. And wife and I are having a conversation. And then she goes, "Are you happy at work?" And I go, yeah. like that, like really pausing, not confident. And then I go, maybe I'm not.
Mm,
Because why would you hesitate?
right.
Because Pauline and I both know spirit
Yes.
speaks. When it speaks, it speaks. You just got to say it. You got to let it
Right.
go. Speak your
Right.
truth. But I didn't. I hesitated. So that made me actually go ponder and think, wait a minute, wait a minute. Am I really happy at work? It's a really regular question that everybody, I'm pretty sure everybody has heard from their other partner at one point in time. So I leaned back and I got flooded with memories. Six specific images, visions. If some people call it vision, memories, whatever you want to call it.
Wow.
But literally, it just came in and it was one after the other, after the other. And then it actually showed me when I was truly happy at work.
Mm,
It had nothing to do with the promotions, the bonuses, the accolades, the awards that I received. It had nothing to do with that. It had everything to do with me helping somebody
wow.
else, me being in service
Hmm.
of
Right.
others. And Pauline, when I saw that, my heart literally was like a supernova. It was an explosion.
Wow.
To see that and to feel that so profoundly, it shook me to the point where I'm like, oh, wow, what in the world was that?
Mm.
I had to open my eyes because I felt the emotion of the other individual at that
Oh,
time,
wow.
of how happy they were, of whatever I did, whether it's just
Hmm.
conversation. And Pauline, for those that you don't know, she's an amazing
Thank
therapist.
you.
She's an amazing medium. So she knows it's all about connecting with the other
Hmm.
souls that's in front of you. So I felt that in the memory. I had no words because I never had an experience
Right.
like that. So that woke
Hmm.
me up. That shook me. And literally when I came back, opened my eyes, I said, man, maybe I'm not supposed to be in corporate
Mm.
anymore. Maybe I need to be pursuing that, what I just felt, which is helping other
Right.
people.
Right.
And I looked at my life real quick and I said, I don't think there's anybody else here that I need to help either.
Mm.
There was one friend that I had. He's still an amazing friend. He's still in the corporate
Hmm.
side. And I've been, working with him, being really, try to be there for each other. But he was the last one that I felt that I needed to assist, if you will, in that
Right.
life, in that setting. And after that, I said, no, I think I'm done. Not with my job, but with my life in that corporate cycle.
Yes.
And that's when it all started, of me coming to a conclusion, of course, collectively with my wife, that maybe I do need to reassess and actually make a move.
Right.
And that's what led to me making the move. And it was scary.
Yeah.
I'm not going to
Sure.
lie.
I mean, it sounds like it was a really profound, like soul truth moment for you, having that memory and having those feelings and just feeling that deeper, like soul connection in that moment. And I can totally relate about being in the closet, for a very long time. And I think 2020, 2021 were very pivotal years for a lot of the collective. And I think Spirit was definitely trying to wake a lot of people up. And I think you and I were definitely part of that batch of individuals that got woken up. So tell us more about, this fear that you felt and how you were able to overcome it and get to where you are now.
Absolutely. So the joy, the unbelievable amount of joy I felt in my heart, it still felt good even when I submitted my resignation. But when it was my last official day and I started my new life, if you
Mhm.
will, the fear was, what are you doing? You're leaving a very comfortable life.
Sure.
I used to be head of finance. For those that don't know, I used to be head of finance, CFO, and all that stuff at the top. But you lived a comfortable life. And now you're jumping into something that you have no idea, not even exactly what you're going
Mhm.
to do. But the calling felt so strong that I felt I needed to do it. It was more like a soul calling. So it's hard to explain logically because I'm based on math. I'm a very logical individual. So for me to just be overwhelmed with that emotion and knowing that that is my path without having full clarity, the fear subsided a little when I had to fall back into my trust.
Mm. Mhm.
Because I was reminded that we don't know everything, everybody.
Right.
And sometimes that's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that
Because whatever's,
those are
go ahead.
moments, I think, where faith and trust in spirit and the universe, higher power, God, however you want to call it, really comes into play. It's like that, like you said, that deep knowing and that deep like nudge that you feel that this is something that you're really supposed to be doing, even though you have no clear blueprint or path of how you're supposed to be doing it. But then you just trust and believe that you're gonna somehow be able to get there and succeed with it.
Absolutely. And when you try to find that trust, that's when your shadows come out. That's when you get tested.
Yes.
So once I left corporate, me thinking, oh yeah, I'll figure it out. Very confident in myself, and based on my past experiences. But guess what? That's not what the universe had planned for me. Basically, I went on a journey of deep introspection of who the heck is Pedro Mejia. What is he holding on to? What is he fearing? Not about the income, about himself.
Wow.
So I went through this journey. We attended retreats at that time, and I did a lot of different modalities, dabbled here, dabbled there, because I kept getting led to these different things. And I'm telling you, I was meditating once or twice a day, every single day for the next 6 months. And when I did that, when I found my silence within, it's when I started feeling, oh, ego's coming up. How did you used to speak to people? Oh, remember you were impatient at work when you couldn't wait for somebody to finish their thought? You had to interrupt. How did that feel? Not very good. So I went through all these mirrors and shadows that I had to face about me, who I was in the past, thinking I was like kind of a really nice guy, right? I think I am, but I'm human.
Right. We all are.
So I had to go through the process of what I have been doing and how it's actually impacting other people. So I'm getting to experience their emotions without being them.
Right.
So it was a ton of processing. And for the fellas out there that are listening to this, I was crying like a baby.
But that's real. We all need to cry. Real. It doesn't matter how tough or strong you are. Everyone needs to cry. It's so cathartic.
Yeah. So imagine all of that, 6 months straight, nonstop. I'm telling you, nonstop. It got to the point where it was October 2021. And I said, once again, meditation. My wife and I, we follow this path together. I'm blessed in that way. I'm abundant in that way. We meditated in the morning. I will never forget this. And in the meditation, I said, God, I have nothing left to give. I don't know what else I need to see about myself where I can actually forgive myself for what I've done or how I've made other people feel, because he made me feel it. And I said, I have nothing to give. I need you to bring me down to dust.
Wow. That's deep.
And not exist.
Wow.
And I was I'm not going to say low, but it's that deep of understanding that I am nothing, but I was reminded I'm also everything in that meditation.
That's beautiful.
And that meditation was an hour and a half, nonstop, just expanding the energy flowing. But it was just, and after the end of it, I felt so light, where I was so clear of what the practical next step after that was, to the point where I would actually go to the park. And I thought people were kind of woo-woo or kind of crazy when they told me this, when I heard this, I'm about to tell you, but I experienced it, so it's real, people. I'm walking in the park, and I kid you not, Pauline, I look at the clouds have a different color.
Wow.
I look at the tree is like literally alive. I look at the road, like everything it's like looking through a different glass, if you will, like glasses. And I was so connected to the earth after that. And then eventually I find out why years later, but it was that moment of just pure understanding that if you're nothing, then you're able to be into everything.
I love that.
Including earth.
Yes. That's deep. And I actually talked about, like, when you were saying how you're seeing things so differently. And I remember, like, I think in my second or third episode, I talked about the soul lens, right? And how when we have our soul lens, it's like everything, our eyeballs change practically. It's like we can just see everything in this world, everything in this life so differently. Even the things that we often take for granted, like especially like in nature. but it's like everything just comes to life in such a different way. But that is such a profound experience. I mean, first of all, an hour and a half meditation deserves a gold medal, because for anyone that practices meditation, you already know that it's not an easy practice to master, and sometimes just doing a few minutes can be challenging. So props to you. But clearly it had a very transformational effect on you and your life and your path. So that's incredible.
It was meant to be, right? Like they always say.
Definitely meant to be.
So after that, I had more clarity. And come December, my wife suggested once again, hey, babe, you should really look into this Dolores Cannon thing. Like Dolores Cannon, I know who she is because my wife has her books and everything, but I wasn't really religiously following her. But I looked into it. I dove into it a little deeper, and I said, that modality is helping a lot of people. And I looked at it, and I saw the videos, the YouTube videos. I'm like, yeah, I could do that. I think I'll be good with that. I'm good with people.
Yeah.
Right? So I dove in. I dove in December. Then I said, nope, I need to get more. So I went from level 1, level 2. I just took all the courses, boom, 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 as much as I could up to level 2 right away. So then January came along of the following year, was 22. And then the universe spoke again, because I kid you not, I just put it out there. Hey guys, I'm giving free sessions. Before you know it, I was 20 something people booked in the next month and a half.
Oh my gosh.
And I spoke to a friend of my colleague at that time. I told him, hey, is this normal? They go, oh no, that's not normal. It doesn't happen that quick. I'm like, okay, cool. I think I'm guided.
Yeah,
that's good.
I think that's such an affirmation when God and the universe sends you a bunch of people. I think it's just like a clear-cut sign that this is something that you're meant to be doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then I got another confirmation. I think it was my 3rd or 4th session in. It was this lady who was also practicing the same modality. She came in, and if all of those that do not know how Dolores Cannon's method worked, basically she connects you to your soul / spirit, guides, whatever you believe in, but it connects to a higher version of you. Okay. So that's the ultimate goal, to get to that process and get to that state. She came in, did the session, during the session, as she's literally going through her entire, her past life. It was an experience. It was really trippy. I hear all of a sudden, do you have a question for us? Literally in the middle of everything. I go, what? I was like, it's like, I think my 4th session. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Me? He goes, yes. Do you have a question for us? I'm like, no. I'm here focused on the client. Just I'm trying to be professional, right? Here is that 20 years of training, be a pro. So I go, no, I don't. Let's just focus on the client. He's like, are you sure? I go, yes. I'm like, okay. So then they go and they continue with the story, right? Then the part where we get to the higher self, we're asking all these questions. And now we're towards the end. And towards the end, the question comes up again. I go, yeah, by the way, who was that said if I have a question for them? And then it was source, like source, God. I'm like, what? And I'm like blown away. I'm like, okay. And then just gave me messages, literally just gave me messages saying, you need to look out for your body. You need to go into, gave me and told me how my body chemistry is, told me that if I could stay in corporate, let's just say not good things were going to happen because of the stress level. Okay. So you made the right move and get ready. You're going to see a lot of darkness. You got to prepare yourself, your body, mentally and spiritually, because you're going to be facing a lot of darkness, people's darkness. And guys, this is not the, demons, no. This is people's emotions, history, past, trauma, all the heaviness that we put on ourselves, that we keep within ourselves sometimes.
Right.
That's the darkness she was referring to.
Right.
And she goes, get ready, but you have to take care of your body because you will be helping a lot of people with their darkness. So ever since then, I've received a lot of people. Most of my people tend to be that have a very traumatic experience, very deep challenges in life. Of course, they see the therapist, they see their psychologist, which they play an amazing role. God bless them because they play an amazing role. But sometimes they get to a point where they need something different.
Yes.
Okay. And that's where we also come in. Okay. Helping people process that at the deepest level, at the spiritual connected level, it's a beautiful process. And after that, I was not denying what I was doing.
Mhm.
And that gave me all the energy to keep on moving forward. And here I am 4 years
Wow.
later.
What you describe reminds me a lot of what I read about in Many Lives, Many Masters by Dr. Brian Weiss, which talks about past lives and when he was speaking, with the masters when when the patient was under hypnosis. But if you could share a little bit more just about what the hypnosis process is like, because I know that for myself personally, I think there's a lot of skeptics out there. I know a lot of people don't believe in hypnosis. They think it's a sham. They see it at like a town fair and they're like, oh, this is all the fraud. I've seen it too. But I think when I was entering the psychotherapy field and I learned that there were therapists that are actually trained in hypnosis and it's used to treat things like anxiety and phobias or even traumas. So then I learned that it actually is like an effective evidence-based like modality. But if you can just share a little bit more about what the process is actually like for people who've never maybe experienced it before or are curious, or the skeptics who may not believe that it's real.
Absolutely. So hypnosis, first and foremost, is simply a hyper state of focus. Trance state. That is it. Beginning to end. And guess what? Based on that definition, yes, you're being hypnotized every single day. And you don't even realize it. In fact, for the people that suffer with high levels of anxiety, when they see me, the first thing I do is I have to dehypnotize them from their current situation. Because what happens when you're in hypnosis, when you're in a trance state, you become a little bit more suggestible.
Right.
So if you become a little bit more suggestible, if you're surrounded by a lot of negativity, guess what you're taking in? A lot of negativity without any resistance. So hypnosis simply is a hyper state of focus. We do it every day. And I mean, literally, go drive on the highway.
Yep.
And tell me an hour later that you're not like so entranced with the road.
How did I get here?
You almost missed it. Exactly.
All the time.
Absolutely. It happens at home too, where you're in a rush. You have to get somewhere and you're like, oh my goodness, I forgot my car keys. You run through the house, you go grab the keys, and then you go out the door and you have no idea what rooms you pass. You have no idea who you bumped into. You're just so focused on getting to your objective that everything in between is a little murky. Okay. Watching a movie, same thing. We all know it's not real.
Right.
It's fake. Actors, producers, but you're also in that trance state. So hypnosis is it's this hyper state of focus. So once you're focused, okay, we're able to get you into that beautiful state where we're able to bypass the critical mind. And the critical mind or the critical factor, depending on who you're talking to, all it is think of it like the bouncer at a nightclub. The bouncer in the nightclub goes, hey, Pauline, oh, you want to work out? Okay, hold on. Let me check if working out is on the list of things that you're used to doing. Actually, no, it's not. Get back in the line. So what we do is by getting you into that beautiful calm state, and there's many different ways to hypnotize people, but I like to do it the soft, gentle way, the maternal way. I do paternal when I need to, but maternal mostly. Okay, soft, gentle way. Then we tell, hey, bouncer, here's a 20. Go take a break. We distract them. So now that you have it that you want to form, you go in and you start making the changes. You start making the changes, going, okay, I'm now more focused in it. I'm going to be more disciplined in it. And we start putting those positive suggestions and start shifting your old beliefs into your new beliefs, your new habits of what you want to accomplish in your life. It's that gentle, it's that simple, and it absolutely works because we work at the subconscious level, which most people know that Joe Dispenza, I'm pretty sure a lot of people follow him, know about him. 95% of your mind is subconscious, is automatic state. You tie your shoes, you don't even think about it. When you're driving, you don't think about it. When you're walking, you don't think about it about putting the first step and then the second step. No, there's a lot of things that we do automatic. How we feel, sometimes it's automatic based on our experiences as a child mostly, okay? Because we're sponges. We're absorbing everything that goes directly to the subconscious mind. So the subconscious mind is basically ruling your day every single day. So we work at that level, which is why the changes are impactful and profound. And there's nothing to be worried about. People, I'm telling you right now, you're always in control.
Yes.
Okay? You're not going to lose control. in a clinical setting. We're not there to give people a good time.
Right.
We're there to help you move forward in
Yes.
life. Big difference. So whatever you see on stage, we're simply here to help you in a beautiful control setting, but you are in control. You will be conscious and aware of what's happening,
Yeah.
but you will be allowing it to
Right.
happen. That's the
Right.
key.
Right. It's interesting because, like, I've been hypnotized a few times by different people. And one of the times was with Pedro. And I can attest to everything that he just said. And it's such an interesting experience. It almost feels like you're in a really deep meditative state, but yet there's still this part of you that is conscious and aware of what is happening. I could still feel, like, even though I knew I was in my subconscious, but there was still this part of me that was like still attuned to what was happening around me. And I have to agree that even as a therapist, I have to say that there are times in working with people that the textbook, concrete psychotherapy approaches and modalities may not be as effective. And sometimes we have to go deeper. And this is why I love being a spiritual psychotherapist, because I can actually go there on the spiritual side of things. And methods like hypnosis can also go there as well. Right. So, like you said earlier, it's like it opens up, I think, a really different door to healing that is not always in the more known, concrete ways that are in the world, like the more scientific, psychological, proven methods. But I think spirituality, the subconscious mind, the subconscious world, the spiritual world, it's a whole nother, that's a whole nother world.
Oh, I love that word
I
too.
do too. Let's live in it. It's a completely different realm. But like you said, like there's such transformational work that can be done there. So I think when you combine the two together, like, psychology, psychotherapy, and then things like hypnosis or other spiritual work or practice, it's like the best of both worlds. You can open up so many things, and the healing that can come out of it can be so deep, which it sounds like was even your experience for yourself, just having those realizations about who you are and, having to face the darkness, etc. And, like you said, it's like what I said before in my previous episode too is like, spirituality, this type of work with the self is not all rainbows and butterflies. It is facing your darkness. It's not, and like you said, this is not about demons and evil spirits. We're talking about your own darkness, your own truths that may be hidden or buried, or have been like repressed or suppressed because of things that you've experienced or gone through in your life. And this type of work helps to bring all that to the light so that it can be healed.
Absolutely.
Yes. I know you shared a bit about how hypnosis works. Let's go a little bit deeper. And can you tell us more about how the transformational part of it comes in terms of like helping people to perhaps break certain patterns or overcome, certain traumas or phobias, things like that?
Absolutely. So it all starts with our main job, like we like to say, is we get to the root cause. Our focus is to get to the root cause. And I do it a little bit differently where I don't suggest anything. I simply allow the person to speak and I twist and turn and they get to their own answer. So in the conscious part, in the cognitive part. So, but once we understand and start seeing for ourselves the patterns that we've been on, then the work for hypnosis is so much easier because the clients are already buying it in. So then what I have to do once the client understands, starts becoming self-aware of what's been happening in their own psyche, then I'm able to simply go there and go, okay, now let's start shifting and letting go. And imagery is one of the most powerful things that you can do. And for those that are not able to visualize, you don't need to. You sense, you know, you taste, you smell, you hear. We use all of our senses. And all of that is specific to how you operate your own mechanism. So I have to be adept of what is exactly customizable to you. What's going to work specifically for Pauline. Because Pauline is different from Jane. Jane is different from Mary. All these different people. So we use the words specifically for the client that resonates with their logical mind, and they were able to start merging and shifting with their subconscious mind by making suggestions. For example, if you get to the root cause of anxiety, it turns out to be that you were not able to speak, that it shut you down constantly. You kept your mouth shut and you built up all this energy, you built up all this steam, and you start getting these panic attacks because you're holding your breath. It's just an example, okay? So what do we do? Okay, what is it that you would like to shift? That emotion of pent up that's holding it in. Okay, how do you release it? Maybe you could use imagination. Maybe it's letting go like a leaf falling down gently from a tree, letting it go very slightly, slowly, beautifully, but at your own pace. And then when it falls, you can finally let it go. Something like that.
I feel like I just got hypnotized. See, this is why Pedro's really great at what he does. Guys, did you hear his voice and how calming and soothing that was? And that's what the experience is like. It really helps to bring you into such a relaxed, like peaceful place, which I think is what helps so much to allow those like profound shifts and things to happen, because we're not in our guarded conscious state. I think for most people, we walk around very guarded in this world, for many reasons. That felt good. Even that 2.5 seconds of a introduction just felt amazing.
And imagine being so calm that you're just receiving and you're allowing it. Then you also feel the emotions of letting go, the detachment of it. And there's other things we could do, but you get the idea that we start shifting that emotional state to being comfortable and accepting and being grounded in who you are and knowing that you have everything you need. You have all your eternal resources. And this is why I always remind people, everybody that sees me, which is the name of my company, Heal Thyself First. Everything starts with yourself first. So whatever you think is the issue outside of you, it's not. It's you.
Right.
That's a big thing. It's a lot of responsibility.
Yes, because I think our external world is very much a reflection of our internal world. And a lot of people may not want to admit that to themselves, but it's true. It really all does start within. And I think I've talked so much on this podcast just about really encouraging people to dig deep, and to lean into discovering their soul truth, and what does that actually mean? So in terms of like hypnosis or the work that you do as a transformational coach, like how can doing this type of work help people who may be on their journey of finding their soul truth or wanting to know more about their soul truth if they're already starting it?
Absolutely. So once we go into the understanding what the subconscious wants to say, first of all, I need to create that space where you're so comfortable, and Paulina has experienced it on the other side. You're so comfortable, you tell me your deepest, darkest secrets. And you become so self-aware of what you're saying at some point, maybe not immediately when you say the words, but I'll bring you back and go, did you just say that? And then a light bulb hits. Boom. Guess what happens to the body? Whoa, people get chills. The truth is spoken, but not by your mind, by the soul has awakened. Right. So when that happens, people start feeling the shift already without even going under.
It doesn't take much, guys. Just be open and allow spirit to do its thing.
That's it. Like, people don't understand that they have so many internal tools.
Yes.
But it does require a lot of strength, requires that you're responsible for yourself. So when you start getting to that mindset and you start transforming yourself with words, you start seeing things differently, meaning there's circumstances in people's lives, people especially with a lot of trauma. So we have to honor their experience. But I simply ask, can you see it from a different side? Can you see the perspective of that experience, the circumstance? Or is the circumstance seeing you? Is it ruling you? Does it have a hold on you? So have you given your power away to that circumstance versus the other way around? So when you open the possibility, just the possibility, doesn't mean you need to believe it, but just the possibility that there might be another perspective that you can look into things. Maybe that created strength. Maybe that created your ability to speak. Maybe that created your ability to be maybe a cop, an EMS worker, somebody that wants to help people. You don't know what that experience has caused in the positive side of things. But that is so difficult to see in the moment of the emotion, which is why I always let people just recognize, is there a possibility to see it from a different angle?
I love that. And those questions that you ask are just so like deeply profound, thought provoking questions. Cause I can say too, just in my work as a therapist and even as a medium, I've encountered a lot of people who have trauma, who have, experienced a lot of loss and grief. And, trauma can be very paralyzing for a lot of people. People can become very so like entrenched in their experience and their emotions. And now this is all they see, and they see their whole life now through this lens of their trauma and their experience, right? And what I love about this work, this especially on the spiritual level, but also on the psychological level too, is that it opens up that door for a different perspective, like you said, right? Because it's like we have to kind of pull people out of this like daze almost that they're in. It's almost like they're in their own hypnotic state, but not not this type. They're more like in this
Right.
state of, there's like a dazed state of their trauma or their wounding or their grief. But it is just as simple as, shifting the mind, shifting the subconscious to start thinking and perceiving and feeling, right? The experience from a very different lens or perspective. So I love those are such good questions. I felt like I was in therapy for a moment myself.
So we could also start diving, if you want to, Pauline, diving into the soul and how the soul plays a role in transformation. So there's one thing, regardless of the modality that you're, how do I say this, that you are being called to participate in, always respect that. Hypnosis is for some people, not for everyone. Therapy is for some people, not for everyone. It's okay. But open yourself to what's actually pushing you forward to face. When it feels uncomfortable, that's when you know you're getting a little bit more ready to take that next step. Because think of it like a coal. Like I think a lot of people recognize this metaphor where lump of coal, it takes millions of years, lot of compression over the millions of years to actually form that beautiful diamond that you are actually inside. So that pressure creates something powerful. So allow yourself to see and let that diamond be. But it all has its own due time. But you have to follow your internal compass of when the right time is. So don't let everybody pressure you to do something that you want to do that you're not ready for. Yeah, you have no idea how many people I've rejected. Because because if they're not ready, if they only want to do one session, they think that one session is going to do everything. Clearly, they're not ready. And I honor them so much in their time and money, because I know what it is to be human, to take care of bills and to also focus on yourself. But if you're not ready, then it's okay not to be ready. That's what I'm trying to say. It's okay not to be ready. But you will be guided eventually to where you need to be. So let your soul guide you. Let it be your internal compass with your intuition.
Everything is truly in divine timing, I believe. But I like you said, I think that we all have to really listen, and be able to like tune out the noise of the world, tune out the noise of other people, and really listen to what our intuition, what our soul, our spirit is telling us. Because that is the biggest compass we have. That is our GPS system. But, a lot of people ignore it, or mute it, and they don't want to listen to what it has to say. But it is the divine guide that we have all been born with and were created with to guide us in this world. So can you tell us a little bit more then how this can continue to help people to kind of really tap more into that part of them, that compass, like you said?
Sure. So once that has awakened the conscious, and then you start doing the transformation, you're going to start seeing, people start seeing, and a lot of my clients have experienced this, and it's even in the testimonials, that when you start changing yourself, it becomes a long-term transformation. Why? People see you differently, meaning first, there's 3 circles that you need to tackle right away. First is yourself. When you start changing yourself, Your family changes. Why? They're reacting to somebody different, to somebody new.
Right.
You're no longer expressing your challenges, your trauma, or whatever behaviors you've been carrying, whatever habits you've been carrying. So what happens when they change? Because you're changing. So when they change, then you start noticing your other circle changes, your friends. Perhaps one of your lessons was to speak up. There's people that are not supposed to be in your circle, but not you're seeing it for the first time. Or perhaps they're giving you lessons that you're now able to see without being triggered anymore. So your bond becomes stronger with that friend that kept pushing you to be better. But you saw it as criticism. You saw it as rejection. But now you see it differently. And guess who's at peace throughout these 3 different levels? You are. So people love to change other people, but I always tell them you can't change anybody. The only person you can change, you can control is yourself. But when you do that, your whole dynamic changes across the entire circle. And that is how it leads to long-term transformation. You created a new culture set, a new energy loop going forward.
It's like what we were saying earlier, like it all starts within. So it's like when your internal world changes, it begins to reflect in your external world as well. And let's take a step further, right? We're living in a crazy time. Okay, there's a lot going on out here. I think the collective is facing a lot of challenges. The energy of the collective has been, I don't even know the words. It's been very dense and heavy and thick. And, I'm finding so many people having difficulty navigating it. So obviously we talked about how this can help on an individual level. But if we take it a step further, how can this help on a collective level, would you say?
Easy. Very simply. If I don't have to worry about you, there's less challenges in the world because you took care of yourself.
Right.
And if you start making the change to you, therefore, think about it. You said individual, but not really. I just said you change yourself, you change your family, you change your family, you change your friends. You already started the ripple effect to affect the entire collective. It all started with you, though, in your world, your experiences. So how do you change the collective? Wouldn't it be best to be the example of what you wish to manifest into the world versus trying to push against it?
Right.
So people tell me, well, doesn't this bother you? Like, I'm not happy that it's happening, but I need to fall back into what is my purpose in this planet? What am I here to do? What can I do? The best way I can do is by being the best that I can for my clients, but also being the best that I can for myself. So when somebody's having a miserable day and they stay within my lane, I'm not going to give them misery. I'm going to give them positivity. I'm going to give them calm. And look at that, Pauline. That person has changed without me saying a word. How do you affect the collective? By being the best, true, authentic version of yourself.
Amen to that. Yeah, I think if everyone really took the time to know and understand their own soul truth, their own soul purpose, like you said, it's like the whole world would be different because then everyone's really living the way they are meant to, the way they've been called to or created to, but there's so many layers in life that can sometimes block people from getting there. And I think the work that you and I both do in our respective fields is we are helping to get rid of those layers. We are trying to help people to shed these layers and break through the walls that may hold them back from being their full, authentic self.
And the one message I also want to share now, as you bring this up, how to change the collective, is I wish people could see how strong and what a beautiful light they are, because no matter what you've been through, the fact that you're in front of somebody seeking assistance to help you reflect or see your guide, that takes so much courage, so much light within you to step out of your own darkness, your own challenges, your own shadows. So don't forget that even just showing up in a session or showing up with a friend and just being honest and raw, you are literally anchoring that light within you, because you will not be defeated. You will not succumb to what's happening everywhere around you. And you will simply say, pause. That is not me. I am who I am. I am who I am. And that is enough.
But it's true, I think that
Mm.
the truth is that we are all light. We all carry light within us. And I think that, on this journey, it is about discovering your own light again. And I think people often forget that they are light, or they have light within them, or they don't believe that they have it anymore. Like, I've seen that happen a lot in my therapy work, is that people feel like the flame has extinguished. And that's not true. It might be dimmed a little bit because of things that you may have gone through and experienced in your life, but the light never goes out, because the light is deeply connected to source. The light is deeply connected to God. It cannot go out, y'all. Like, doesn't it doesn't matter what you try to do, it's not going out.
It is eternal.
Yes.
Therefore, you are
Well
eternal.
said. Well,
So stay in your peace, stay in your lane,
yes,
be the light.
exactly.
Yeah.
Keep shining, guys. Keep shining. We need it out
Mhm.
here. We need everybody's light to keep shining. So, for those who may want to discover more of their own light, or, do more of this transformational work, can you tell us more of how people can find you, and what are some of the services that you offer to others?
Absolutely. So the name of my company, you can find me on the website. It's called Heal Thyself First, and I offer many different services. The main ones are I do group programs. My latest one is Inner Child Healing
Mm,
Workshop, 6 weeks immersive. We do not just hypnosis. We do tapping. We do somatic breathing. We do therapeutic journaling. And I give you a lot of tools to help you beyond the what we came in
mm.
for. My work is when you're good and you no longer need to see
Yeah.
me. That means I've done a
Yes.
good job.
I say that too as a therapist. I'm like, the goal is not to be in therapy forever. If you get to a point where you can now do these things on your own, my job is done. Yeah.
That's right. And the other part is traditional hypnosis in a clinical setting. I offer that. I look for clients that are willing to invest time, because it takes time to actually start changing your neural
Yes.
pathways. Okay, so it's just the reality. Some sessions have been amazing. They happen in one day, literally people shift in one day, but usually it takes time. So it takes anywhere from 30 to 90 days, depending on the individual and depending how committed they are to changing themselves by repetition, by patterns, new behaviors that we
Mhm.
work in the one-on-ones that I work with my clients. And coaching. I do coaching, mentorship, I do spiritual mentorship, and I help people just see their daily lives and actually apply it, because we hear a lot of rules, the law of one, and all these different things. And everybody's go, okay, that's fantastic. How do I apply it to
Mhm.
myself? I'm going, okay, let me tell you how you can do it. So those are the main services, one-on-one and coaching
Okay.
too, coaching and
Awesome.
mentorship.
And what's like the best way for people to find you?
I have Instagram. You can send me a message. Same thing, Heal Thyself First. And my website. Those are the two main ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, lastly, I want to ask, because I know you shared a lot about your own experience, but what are just some of the, I guess, most profound or positive experiences that you've witnessed, or you yourself have experienced, or any testimonies from clients that you've had that felt or saw were very successful and transformational with this type of work?
I'll give you
Okay.
two. I'll give you one more standard but transformative, another one very woo woo.
We love the woo woo stuff.
Yeah.
I'm here for the woo woo stuff all day, and half my audience is too.
All right. So the first one is elderly client, not elderly, mature client in his 50s, a male, and came in for a couple of different reasons. But one of the reasons that he brought up is that he wants to repair his relationship with his daughter. And it's in the testimonial, so people can read it. But essentially, he came in, he didn't know why he couldn't connect. He didn't know why he couldn't connect with his daughter, be open. It was, a little
Mhm.
challenging, father and
Sure.
daughter. So we go through the process. He comes in, we go through the process. And as the conversation evolves, we start understanding the patterns. So we dive a little deeper, because he's allowing himself, he's telling us his whole story. And then we go to the root cause, which turns out to be the mother said, don't you cry anymore. Men do not cry. So suck up those tears. Guess what? Since that time, He told me he's never cried ever since.
And how old was he?
40 something years, never shedding a tear.
Wow.
So what does that happen? Obviously, when we are not able to express, how can we be open and receiving connection with someone else emotionally? We're being very guarded. We're not releasing. We're not being authentic. So when he realized that and he let go, he forgave himself, forgave his mom, and understood that that was simply meant to be. He cried for the first time in 46 years, something like that.
That's incredible.
And just cried and cried and cried and cried and cried. And then finally, are you able to now repair your relationship with your daughter? Absolutely, because I could let her in now. That was one of my favorite ones because it's a male.
Yeah.
And I have to tell that story because a lot of men don't open up. They go with that. They deal with that.
A lot of men are really raised and conditioned to believe and feel or know that they're not supposed to emote. They're not supposed to cry. They're not supposed to, have these more, these kinds of emotions that, females may more typically like display, right? Or express. So that's a beautiful story. I love that. I hope all the men listening take a page out of this book right now. And know that it is okay to cry. You can shed all the thug tears that you want to, and that doing so can open up a completely different door and bridge the, bridge the gap and bring in so much more healing and connection. That's amazing.
And you break or transform the generational pattern that's been going on in your family. Because that's a learned behavior, right? Because somebody taught that to his parents, then taught to his mom, and then his mom taught it to her son, right? So you want to break that.
Right.
Because now you experience what it means not to do that, not to open up. So it's such a beautiful process. And the second one that I have for you is, okay, so this is a QHHC session, which is a very spiritual session, which is the one that I gave to Pauline. So I had a client, and this is also a testimonial. So I had a client came in, and the poor thing suffered an accident, was not able to move very well for 20 something years. And she showed me that she wakes up so stiff that literally, and she did it in front of me. She goes, I have to go down to the floor. And she went to the floor trying to bend my knee so she could tie her shoe every day.
Wow.
That's how much rigidity and pain she would be under. I'm like, okay. So we go through the process. Then we get to the higher self. So we go conversation. So there's three phases to that, everybody. Conversation piece. You get to open up and speak your truth, tell your story. Number 2, the journey. Could be a past life, future life, could be other worlds. It could be really trippy. And the third phase is the conversation with the higher self. Okay. And it goes through you. The client is actually the one responding, not me. It's the client doing all the work. So we go through to the higher self, and we reconcile the story that she had in her past life. Being very rigid, like this, right? Not bending, not in her will, not bending, and stuff like that. Like, okay, makes sense why her body's tightening up. Okay, got it. Then we get to the body. Now I'm going directly to the body and going through all of her channels or all of her chakra. I'm asking the higher self to go through it and just release what needs to be released and whatever she needs to let go. So then the client, don't freak out, everybody, I'm about to say, but she calls in Archangel Raphael, and then she starts shaking. She's literally vibrating off the bed, and she's going, "What's happening to me?" And I get a clear message. Obviously, they're processing that energy so rigid, right? It's just shaking, and I go, they're processing everything out energetically, right? They're moving things along that hasn't moved in a long time. They're moving it out. She's like, "Oh, thank you," and she just kept shaking and shaking. And then it started calming, and then she goes, she literally, I swear to you, Pauline, she's lying down. She's like, "Ooh." She puts the right leg up and then bends it over her left. She's like, and she does her left. She's like, she's able to move. She's flexing. She's moving her back.
My gosh.
And I'm like, obviously I'm grateful for the experience and grateful for the guy to have shown up. And she's still under, by the way.
Oh my gosh.
But like Pauline knows that you're still conscious, right, Pauline? That you're still aware. But she's like, oh my, what's, this is amazing. She is completely lost in what the whole experience, what she's feeling, because she feels no pain. She feels completely fluid. She's like butter.
Wow.
Butter. So I bring her back. She goes up. She's like, oh my God, I feel great. I'm like, okay. So she gets up and she's sitting down. Then she's able to tie her shoe without having to floor to floor.
Oh my gosh. Like she's like fully healed, basically, is what it sounds like.
Yeah. I don't like to use that word, but yes. Right. Correct. And then I'm like, wow, I'm shocked. So it doesn't happen every session, but sometimes you get one of these amazing sessions you can't forget. So then after that, she goes like, I feel amazing. I go, great. So I reminded her, and this is true for everybody, regardless of it's a spiritual journey or an individual, pragmatic, logical journey. When you start finding something that works, you get guidance, you have an experience, that positive experience, the positive guidance you receive, it is up to you now. The responsibility is back on you to make sure you follow through.
Yes.
So what happens in a spiritual sense, if you don't believe it, believe it or not, people have some crazy stuff. I have a million stories. People have some crazy experiences and they go, oh, that can't be real. Even though like, oh, you couldn't smell for 6 months. Now you can smell completely, but now you don't believe it. Okay, I don't understand, but that's cool. But it's up to you. So the key is that you're responsible for yourself to keep it going. That's the key. You're responsible for yourself to keep it going. So I followed up with her because I'm like, wow, that was pretty cool. 3 months later, she's still flexible. She's still, now with her regimen, she's still fluid.
Wow.
So
that's incredible. And I think that just highlights like the strong connection between the body and the spirit, the body and the subconscious, how powerful energy is, right? Because like even just witnessing like literally her body vibrating and seeing how the energy was actually being shifted or like transmuted out of her body. I mean, that's incredible. But that's an amazing story. And I think a really like clear-cut example of how like the levels of healing that people can really experience, by just being open, right, to different approaches, different modalities, being unafraid to go there, right? Or being able to trust in you as a provider, trusting in spirit, trusting in the universe, trusting in your spirit team. That there's all these, amazing beings that are around all of us who are there to support us on our journey and support us on our healing journey, most importantly. But you can write a book on this one. This is
oh man, you want another one? A really
Let's
cool
do
one?
it. I'm sure everyone wants to hear it too. Okay. Why not? These are great.
Okay, so there's another session, and this was like early in my QHHT days. So it was a practitioner herself. She came in and she wrote it on Facebook. I should have taken a snapshot. See, people that are opening up a business, when they give you a positive review, make sure that you snap it and keep it for your records. Anyway, so she came in. She had stuff to deal with. Right? She talked about the things she wanted to work on. And her past life was, I think, a different experience. It was pretty cool. She was a red blood cell.
Oh.
This one I actually posted on my Instagram. I got permission from her that she was literally a red blood cell. And the way we found out, it was so cool because she was like trying to feel herself out. Like, what am I? It's like, I feel like I'm traveling somewhere and it's flowing. It's like fluids but it feels like, I feel so tiny and I feel like I'm down a river canal. She's describing and she's like, what? She's trying to figure out herself. And then she's like, oh, I'm a blood cell. I'm a red blood cell. I'm like, that's cool. So she's traveling. So I asked, what's the purpose of showing her that? Like, why experience that? Because no matter how small you are, you also play an important role in life. Oh, that was deep. I was like, oh, that's a good one.
Oh, that's a good one. Everyone, please take note of that.
So this is the trippy part. This is I'm about to tell you. So part of the session was she wanted to do a surrogate healing. And the surrogate, which basically means for everybody that's listening, okay? Surrogate healing means if you come in, you have a session with me, and you want to help or assist somebody else, you could do that with them not being present. It requires two things. Number one, it requires permission. We always work with permission. Okay, guys, the spirit world always work with permission. We have to be respectful. Okay. So permission with the person consciously saying, yes, please go ahead and ask on my behalf for the thing that I'm not able to do for myself, right? At that point in time. And then of course you connect to the higher self. Make sure that that's okay too. Those are the two things. Consciously, subconsciously, or super consciously, I like to say. So got permission. And what she wanted to do was, the person was in Florida. I'm in New Jersey. And she goes, two things. He has lump in the head, big lump, big bump right here in this head. I forgot how he had that, but it was a big lump in the head. And one of his lungs was like almost collapsed. It was very small. Like he was suffering a lot. I was like, oh, that's not good, right? Anyway, so we went through the healing, got the permission, and started working, doing all these energy healing. Okay. And it was to him, not to her. Okay. So it said, it is done. You will see it in the next couple of weeks. We're like, that's cool. Right. So we're done. And mind you, she's also a practitioner. Okay. She was okay, good, that's cool. So even she's, okay, let's see if it actually happens, right? We're human. We're skeptical. Guess what? 2 weeks later, goes on Facebook, makes, well, if it didn't happen to me, I wouldn't believe it. That's what she wrote. That's how it started. That person that received the surrogate healing, bump in the head, gone. Lung, breathing well.
No way. Guys, you can't make this stuff up. All right. And Pedro's not a liar. We're not doing this for clout. These are like real life stories. That's incredible. Wow.
Yeah.
It's so powerful, right? Like what this work can do. I have to bring you back because we got to do a whole nother episode on past lives, because there is so much there. I think that both of us could share about past lives and past life regressions, and that stuff is so fascinating to me. But I think we need to dedicate another episode to that because it's such good, like juicy woo-woo stuff. It's so good. But there's so much incredible information, right? And like soul truths and stuff that exists within like the past life realm. So I definitely have to have you back on for sure. Yeah.
That'd be great.
But
get to hang out with my sister.
Talk more woo-woo things.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for being here again for this episode. This was amazing. I hope all of you guys just enjoyed hearing more about Pedro's journey, his soul truth journey, and the amazing transformative work that he does. If you need more information, his contact info will be available in the show notes. But I think, as we said, keep shining, everyone. Keep being the light, and just know that change is possible, right? And that you can be a different person. You don't have to keep living the same life you've been living if you're not happy with it, as Pedro had experienced for himself. So do you have any last words for the listeners, Pedro?
Yes. Don't forget your true self. Don't forget your true self, because your true self is always eternal. Mm-hmm. It's filled with love, but it's also filled with lessons, and that's okay.
Yes.
That's okay. Right. So don't let that live and reside within you in permanence. Understand that it's an experience, lessons to be learned, and you're going to be stronger because of it. Right. That's it. Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, keep living your soul truth, everybody. Thank you for listening to The Soul Truth with Pauline Montemayor. I hope this sacred wisdom will continue to guide you along your path. We would love to hear from our listeners, so please show some love by leaving a review and a rating. Stay real, stay you, and stay blessed.